joining, from all over Africa. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us for today's MSM Campus Connect. My name is Ikenna Mgbakogu, and today's webinar is brought to you by MSM Unify. MSM Unify is a tech platform of M Square Media, which is a leading education services provider working with colleges and universities to recruit more international students and diversify their campuses. In today's webinar, which is a very good session for all who is going to listen to us, we're going to be talking and covering the topic, why study abroad. And in this session, you will be able to discover some of the good benefits of studying abroad and why international education is a very good and vital component of our careers in the future. But before I introduce, our distinguished speakers, our panelists who are really, looking very sharp and beautiful today, I'm going to introduce my colleague who will be moderating this session together. So Titus, if you could just give an introduction before we continue.
Thank you, Ikenna. I'm very happy to participate again in this session. I'm happy to have Carol and Caroline on board. My name is Titus Suter. I'm the country manager for M Square Media, Kenya. So I'm very happy to be a moderator in this session, and I look forward to fruitful engagement, especially having studied my studies abroad. I will also be keen to learn from our speakers and be able to share our different experiences and how to inspire prospective students. So I wish to welcome everyone on board, and I will now welcome our speakers to introduce themselves.
All right, thank you, Titus. Thank you, Ikenna. It's a privilege to be here. My name is Carol Tiriongo, and I'm an alumna of University of Manchester. Right now, I work for the Civil Service UK. I work for the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. That is, I work as a policy delivery officer, and I'm really glad to be here. I just have to say that without Titus and without such sessions, I wouldn't be here because they were really helpful, gave me a lot of insight. So I welcome you to this webinar, and I hope that you'll learn something from us. Yeah, and I'll pass it on to Caroline.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Caroline Kosilei, and I am an alumnus of University College London. I am currently working at a consultancy firm based in Kenya. We work with global health and development, and we support development partners as well as international NGOs, with technical work as well as just support in their programs. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and I can say that me being able to study abroad was through such sessions where I was able to learn from other people. So I'm really excited to give back, and yeah, let's see how the session will go. Back to you, Titus.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you so much, Carol. It's such a pleasure having you, to be able to talk about your experiences, to talk about, the successes, the challenges, everything along the way, from your quest of, studying as well as, becoming, the great, professionals you are today. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we, get started. We'll be using the Q&A function. That will allow us, ask all our questions, as well as, be able to, write any concerns we have, from the conversations today. So I urge all our audience listening, drop your questions, drop your concerns. We'll be able to reach out and answer all that once the Q&A, floor is opened. Great. So without any further ado, I would just pick to Carol first. Carol, it's such a very, good opportunity to speak to you today. So I just want to learn, why did you even opt to, study abroad? Yeah, there are so many reasons, I'm sure, but if you could just give us a little bit of, the top 3 reasons, that, motivated you, and just to be able to connect with some people back in Africa right now who are possibly at that level, just to be able to, help them navigate a bit?
Thanks, Ikenna, for that question. Yeah, like you said, there are very many reasons, but I'll just pick three. So first, I came here because of career advancement. So I'd worked as a landscape architect for about 3 years, and it got to a point where I felt like I was not doing enough. So I wanted to do more. And for landscape architecture, we solve environmental issues. So I wanted to go into environment, and the UK presented good courses for that. So I went for international development and environment, which looks at how environment affects development and vice versa. So the UK, actually, most universities had such courses. That's why I applied to come to the UK. And the second one was the quality of education in the UK. Like here, we have international level of education in terms of facilities that are there, opportunities that are there, and even the kind of lecturers that we have in the UK, they are top notch. So that's why I applied to the UK. And I wasn't disappointed at all when I arrived. I found that.
Nice.
And it was an amazing journey. I'm sure I can talk about it further later. But yeah, that quality education was what brought me here. And the third was, I knew I'd be exposed to many people from different countries, and I wanted to create that network. Sometimes when you stay so much in your country, not that it's not bad to stay in your country, but you miss out on a lot. You miss out on meeting people and just creating those networks. Like, there's so much to learn from different people. Like, if I sit down and start writing what I've learned from people, I think it's too much. It surpasses what I learned in class, actually. Like, network is really good. People are a resource, and that is what brought me here. And I knew I'd get it here in the UK. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And such a very good, story that, you just shared with us on, some of the reasons, for wanting to choose to study abroad. But yeah, in as much as we understand some of all these reasons, which are really good. But, in reality, did you have an additional push, as from a family or friend or colleague or relative to actually, get into that quest to want to go abroad? Was there anything like that?
I can't really say there was a colleague or a friend who pushed me to it. It was more of a personal thing because of how I felt. But then I saw what people are doing abroad. I saw photos of people going abroad and doing that. And I said, I want to do that because I noticed that there was something different about them. The way they spoke, the way they saw things, their perspective on things. So that drove me there. I can't say there was someone who pushed me, but for the record, I can say someone like Titus helped me a lot, pushed me a lot, and showed me the benefits of studying abroad. So thank you very much, Titus, for that. So that was a big push for me, but initially it was just a personal thing.
Perfect. Good to know that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Carol. One quality of an educated mind is the ability to connect. So if you can just go to school to learn to connect with other people, with other cultures, so you will have already become successful. So before we go to the next question, maybe I'll ask Caroline, if there is also a different motivation for somebody who inspired her to go to study abroad before we go to the next question.
Yeah, maybe Carol did a really good job. I mean, I feel like most of my thoughts are in line with what she has, but maybe I'll just expand a little bit. I would say maybe I'll connect the two, meeting new people as well as experiencing new cultures and countries. I believe, or once someone said, I read somewhere that, when you stay in your country, it's like you're reading one page of a book. So I thought that it would be great to read many pages of a book. And so studying in the UK was one of the things that I really wanted to do, reading another page of a book. Maybe it's going to be more interesting. And it actually ended up being very interesting. So I would say that's one of the main reasons. Maybe just to expand a little bit more about also meeting people and in line with what I've just spoken about in terms of cultures, I was able to meet with so many people. One of my best friends in the UK was from Kazakhstan. We were worlds apart, like we were brought up in different backgrounds, different things, but we were able to connect. So that was really magical in terms of networking and meeting people in person, being able to experience people and creating networks across, not only in Africa, but across the world. So those two are quite attached. And then the last one, I would say, Carol spoke about it. It's about the quality of education. The course I was going to do in Kenya, we did not have that course during that time. That is an MSc in Global Health and Development. And I was keen to also study in the best university. So, you have to have the leap of faith and, try what's out there. So I asked around and I found out there was a good course and a good course at UCL, and I applied for it. And one thing I would say is that the quality of education is quite different in terms of how we look at education there. So I would say I really enjoyed that aspect. So that's something I was really looking forward to when I was going out. In terms of inspiration, I would say my friends inspired me a lot. I have two of my very close friends. One of them is here actually. She's called Sharon. I'm not sure if Caroline is here. But there is something about when you see your friends making it or getting a scholarship, you tell yourself, why not me? Why not me? Why can't I go and study abroad? You have dreams of going abroad. I know most of the time, as Africans or maybe from the lower middle income countries, it might be a little bit hard to study abroad because of the finances. But, seeing other people with your two own eyes that they're able to get a scholarship abroad, or they're able to study abroad, or they're able to settle abroad like Carol, that is really inspirational. So I think I would say, and also Titus was one of them. So I would say my friends really played a big role in influencing me to apply for a scholarship abroad. Yeah.
Okay, so the saying is believing. After you saw your friends, you believed, and then it became a reality for you. Also, it's also said after crossing 3 rivers, you will not be thinking the same. So it opens your mind so that you're thinking your worldview would be totally different. So the next question now for Carol to answer is maybe how long, when did you first start maybe aspiring to study abroad? That is Caroline. And then what was your expectation before and during your studies?
That was in 2017. So I started thinking about it in 2017. That is when I got to a point where I wanted to go in a different way in terms of my career. So 2017. And my expectations, of course, I expected to get a quality education, expected to meet people from different countries. I expected to travel also, because I know seeing different parts of the world actually opens up your mind. And I can say when I came here, I got that the quality of education was good, but then COVID happened. COVID happened and that just changed everything. As much as I still got the quality education that I wanted, I didn't get it the right way. I mean the right way, like going to class, meeting people, because now we had to go online. And I don't think I can blame anyone for that. That is COVID and it happened and we had to adjust. And there was actually a lot of good that came out of it, because out of it now we can do such meetings. We can, like, in terms of digitally, we've advanced to accommodate that. So it was still good. And as much as that happened, it worked out for me well. And I also expected smaller classes because it's a master's course. And for my cohort, we were a bit small, but then we got, of course, shared units and we were quite many. So I was like, okay, I didn't come for this. But it shows the amount of need or the amount of demand for UK education, because we were so many from different countries. And of course, I was disappointed at first because I'd expected to be in a small class, very serious class with wearing suits and all that, but then we were so many. But then that provided an opportunity to interact with more people. So I can say my expectations were met and also not met in a way. But at the end of it all, I think I learned to be able to adjust to situations. I think that is one thing that you also learn a lot when you go to a foreign country. You're able to adjust to situations because it's not home where you're used to doing things this way. So I was able to adjust, and I can say the expectations that were met outweigh the expectations that were not met. Yeah, thank you.
Really the way to go in terms of being able to turn situations to fit into what really matters. The good thing that I just learned from what you said is, even though you were expecting something, but being able to, connect, being able to, flow with, the situation, that's the exposure. That's, being able to network, being able to see different parts of, life, and that's a very, good thing. Caroline, did you also have the COVID-19 situation? Did it disrupt expectations? I know so many students, had, so many things truncated. So many people wanted to go surfing, go to the movies, cinemas, do a lot of stuff, take on selfies and all that, to be able to put on their Instagram page, just go out and travel. I don't know whether that was also truncated because of the COVID-19 situation. So just let us know if perhaps the expectations for studying abroad were actually met.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ikenna. Maybe I'll just add to, I feel like we are really, whatever Carol is saying, just like our names, it's quite similar. Maybe I'll start by saying that I started my process of applying abroad in 2016. I saw, as I said, I was interested to study global health, and it was not being offered in Kenya. And I said, why can't I apply to the best universities? So I asked, and I found out about it. But then I didn't have the finances, so I applied for the course in UCL, and I got an offer, but I didn't have financing. And so I deferred this. I asked for it's called deferring. I deferred my course so that I could be able to concentrate and look for funding. And I think I want to be really clear and just say that, all this it's never rosy. Someone might start maybe end of September when Chevening opens, and you get by December. Others might do for 2 years. So it's a process. It's an up and down process, and you have to be part of it. So it's not going to be easy in some cases. Some cases it's going to be easy, some cases it won't be easy. So I just wanted to be very clear and mention that. In terms of expectations, I would say, well, I was expecting a lot of development. I had traveled to the Netherlands before, and so I had a snippet of how the UK probably would be. I'd heard a lot about London. It's one of the biggest cities. People always talk about it. And well, I mean, it was within my expectations in terms of how developed it was. I would say it was a little bit expensive for me. I thought I would be living in my own house, having lived in my own house before, but I think Carol can tell you that the rent there is quite expensive. So it's a very expensive city. And also the kind of scholarship I was able to get, I got funding from International Students House, which hosts international students. And we were in the middle of London. So it's more like I arrived there and I thought I was the boss because I was living in the middle of London. I was a walking distance from Oxford Street, from the London Eye. So all this, after you finish your course, you realize that the city is quite expensive because you cannot be able to get accommodation easily. Yeah, it's quite expensive. I would say also something that I did not expect is the kind of it's called education style. Most of, I would say, maybe let me not talk about, I'll talk about my experiences as a Kenyan. I realized that our education system mostly is about reproducing information. And when you go to the UK or the school I studied particularly, it's a lot about synthesizing the information. So it's more like the lecturer takes you out and tells you, you have an assignment. It's not about you reading as many papers. It's about you taking the context you are coming from, your background, and being able to synthesize that to understand and to give something new, or you critically think and give something new out of this information. So that was something really totally different. And I saw so many of my African colleagues who were struggling with that. So I would say that's some of the things that I was not expecting, but it happened. So for me, I would say it was a mix of both. Another thing maybe I would mention that was not related to the education is that the cultures are quite different. So you have to understand, and also the weather is quite different. I still have not gotten, I would get used to the cold, but I'd not get used to the darkness at 7 o'clock in the morning. That never, I never grew into that, surely. Yeah. So I would say that really was quite different for me also. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, wow, great stuff. Wow, I really enjoyed that piece, in terms of the new realities, because of the daylights, the nighttime, 9 p.m. and it's still bright and everybody walking as if it's 6 a.m. in the morning. Wow, interesting. And you made mention about the costing, in terms of, the expenses, something that it's a very, key important criteria for choosing to study in a country is the budgeting, and this is what, MSM Unify, has in abundance. It's a tech platform that connects students, to various destinations, name it Canada, the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and being able to factor and look at, a destination that could fit your budget is something key, because it's going to help you, across, all the duration of your studies. So for the audiences, this is an opportunity to go check out MSM Unify. They are the ones, powering this, M Square Media Campus Connect, so that you can be able to have a snippet of some of the very affordable options we have in some other countries. Back to you, Caroline. I think I'm liking the conversation. So in as much as, the costing, could be a factor, but you and I know that, London is going to be a very prolific location in terms of part-time jobs, internships, experiences, stuff like that. So if you could just let us know a bit about that, do you have lots of opportunities for working and studying? Was it a very good opportunity in terms of giving you a bit of pocket money? Was it able to, buy you stuff or make you like live a little bit, better than if you didn't work? Just for maybe people who are considering, can I study? Can I work? Is it possible? Will it affect my studies? Are there even opportunities for me to study and work, or even, have internships or part-time jobs? Yeah, Caroline, I think you're mute.
All right, sorry. I thought it was Carol. You see, that's the thing about having yeah. In London, I think I would say it's a mix of both. There is opportunity to work. Within the UK laws, you are allowed to work 20 hours as a student, 20 hours a week. I mean, it's possible for you to be able to work within the 20 hours. So I mean, if you are a balanced person, or you're the kind of person you are able to work-life balance, then I think you can be able to get some part-time jobs where you can do this, even internships. There's quite a number of opportunities out there. Although I would say, if you're going to do your master's, I'm not so sure about Carol, how long her master's was, but mine was 1 year. It's quite intensive to be able to work and also do your master's. Something is going to give. So you have to really know what is it that you're trying. Are you trying to make money, or are you trying to study? So that's where you really need to get a balance around that. So I felt, there's a lot of opportunity to work. I personally did some care work, and I would say it's intensive. You go there for 11 hours, 1 hour break. So how do you come back and study after that? Or how do you, how are you able to meet with people, are able to catch up with your studies, after school or something like that? But it just depends on someone. If you're able to balance that, then yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. Carol, was there very good opportunities in Manchester? I don't know, in terms of, why you studied.
Yeah, so Manchester and London are more or less the same. The UK is the same. So as a student, because you're on tier 4 visa, you can only work for 20 hours a week. For me, I wasn't able to get to take any job in the beginning, because we all come here for different reasons. And for me, I came to the UK because I also needed some rest, because I had a tough time in the initial years and I wanted rest. So that's why I wanted to get a full scholarship so that I'm comfortable. I don't have to go for other jobs to cater for my tuition. So that is also a point to note, that if you want to have a comfortable stay and you want to concentrate on your studies, please try to get a full scholarship, not even a partial scholarship. Get a full scholarship and you'll be comfortable enough. And apart from even getting jobs outside, I think there's also opportunities inside the university. So in the students' union, just working for the admin and all that, it's possible to do that. So what I was able to do, I was able to run for a position. I got into student politics, and I became an executive officer, and that became part of my, I had a job on the side while I was doing my dissertation. So that is also an opportunity to take. Most Africans don't take those opportunities because they feel, oh, what am I going to do in a student union in a foreign country? But recently, we've had a lot of Black students becoming executive officers in students' unions. So please take advantage of that opportunity, because it's that opportunity that gave me experience that got me this current job. So take advantage of the opportunities inside uni if you feel like you can't take the jobs outside. I think that would be my advice.
Great. So I don't know whether Titus would like to take the other questions, for Carol or Caroline. I think you're on mute.
Before I take the questions, I wanted to add something about the advantage of studying abroad. So one of the advantages, it opens your mind, so that when you come back, you are not the same person. You may go abroad with one objective, but you come back with a different objective or a different idea. And then another one is critical thinking. You will learn not to believe everything that you read, even if it is written by your professor. Yes, don't believe it. Don't believe everything you hear, even if it's said by the president or your pastor. So it has to agree with your conscience. So that's the importance of critical thinking. So I'll go to the next question, maybe for, I don't know, I can now do with Carol. Maybe the next question will be about support. What kind of support did you get to prepare maybe for your life after graduation? And then after that, now you can also talk about maybe your number one advantage, the number one advantage of studying abroad. So you can start with your preparation. How did studying at Manchester prepare you for your present career? And then what is the number one advantage of studying in the UK?
Thank you very much for those questions, Titus. So two main things that helped me prepare for my current situation. One is, so the uni has career service. I think it's a very important part of the uni, because you get to know how to do CV writing, because it's different for different countries. So they teach you how to do CV writing for the UK and even internationally. So that really helps, because there's a way employers want to see things, and they help you to get into the employer's mind, and then now you get to know how to write to an employer. So that really helped. And I just advise everyone that when you come here, please come with when you go to a foreign country, go with a ready mind to take advantage of the opportunities. Sometimes when you have a master's that's 1 year, like time can go so fast and you don't see it. By the time you're done, you haven't taken advantage of the opportunities. And by the time you're done, you're already logged out of the system. So there are things you can't access. So take advantage. When you just come with a ready mind, go into all the systems, get in there, get any training, anything that is available. So for me, it almost became too late, because 1 year flew so fast and I didn't see it. But thank God, and thank some of my friends, I was able to get into the system and learn a few things before I got out. And the next one is, I'll reiterate on networks and the people you meet. Because for me, when I came here, I hadn't planned to go into student politics. It was never anywhere in my dream, because politics, how? And then I met a few friends from Nigeria and Ghana, from Ikenna's country, and they were really like, you can do this, let's do this, this is what you learn, these are benefits. Of course, there are cons here and there, but let's do this. So people are very important. And I can say the things that I've learned through those people, actually, sometimes I think they're more than what I learned in class, because they were able to take me through things that I never experienced before. I was able to step into a level or a realm that I've never been, that I was never comfortable with before, but then I got in there and I was able to do what I did. So career service and all the opportunities that the university offers, and the kind of people you meet and interact with, that will help you for your future. Yeah, thank you.
Great.
The second part of, there was another question which was like,
what advantage, studying abroad?
Yeah. I'd say the knowledge base is huge. You get to learn from every corner. Friends, even the person you meet at the reception, you get to learn from them, from class, from traveling. Like, take advantage of traveling opportunities. When you're here, it's a bit cheap. You can like take advantage of cheap like discounts and all that. As a student, you have a lot of discounts. So take advantage of those, because when you stop being a student, then you don't get them. Travel, see new places, learn things, because it's those things that will actually help you when you're going back home to maybe implement your idea, because you know how it has been done before and you know how it can be done better. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carol. Very good, salient and learning points regarding, why, study abroad, and some of the, tips, to give your upcoming students who want to venture into, this, approach of yours. Caroline, just to bring you a little bit, into the conversation, are there also career services, at UCA? I'm sure it's available in most schools, but was it something that was easily accessible? Is it very good for students to get their CVs, connect to students' services, to be able to be thinking about the outside world, even though they have not done with their studies?
Yes. I would say there was a lot of opportunities. Most of these universities have already, all this in their system. They start even early, way earlier. You're there for a year, but they start, I think, by January. You get in September, and by January there's access. You can actually go to the career office, get support on how to write your CV, how to prepare yourself. I met a gentleman from Kenya who was an engineer, and the moment he stepped into the UK, he started applying, because he had access to that. He started applying for jobs. So by the time we finished, by July the next year, he already had a job. So he just started a job in September the next year. So I feel like one thing that maybe if I was to go back, an advice that I would give many people who would get an opportunity to go abroad: start early to apply for these jobs, because 1 year, as Carol said, 1 year is just a blink of an eye and it's over. And you're too busy doing your masters, you're studying, you're doing your thesis, you're meeting people, you're traveling, and it just goes by. So if you start early, you don't have to wait until the end for you. I'm sorry about the background. I'm working from home.
It's okay.
Yeah. And so you kind of need to take advantage and be really fast in terms of capturing that advantage. For me particularly, and again, as I say, I pride on sharing my experience. I was not able, I think it was too fast for me. I was not able to use the opportunity, but the opportunities are there. That is one thing I would want everyone to know. Opportunities are there, and I have seen it with my eyes that people have been able to get jobs. Carol is actually one of the people that was able to use these kinds of opportunities. So you're asking about if there's support for after class or after your studies, there is support. The support is a lot. In terms of one advantage of studying abroad, picking one, there's a lot. But for me, I would say it's studying in a world-class university. Many of us outside of these, big universities, like let's say Harvard, London School of Health and Tropical Medicine, Oxford, all these big universities, we are really caught up and we just think it's other people who make this university. But it's us. We bring the diversity, we bring the insights that are different, and this is what they're looking for. And when you finish doing your course, you become very marketable. For instance, I'll give an example in my case. I was doing a career change because before I went to the UK, I had a lot of experience in environmental stuff. I was working in an environmental organization on climate change. One of the reasons why I actually went to study school, I wanted to meet climate change and health. But when I got there, I changed my mind and I really loved working for global health. And the moment I came back home with zero experience in global health, I presented myself to my boss through a network, and I got a job. So I would say this, sometimes people just want to see that you studied in this world-class university, or maybe you've had some experience out of the country where you studied somewhere else. You have different opinions on how you look at things. So these things, having that opportunity to study in a world-class university or another kind of setting will give you an opportunity, or will open doors that you might not see or might not have anticipated. So I would say, yeah, that's my one advantage I would say of studying abroad.
Brilliant, very brilliant. So it's just a direct return on investment, whether you are coming in on a scholarship, whether you are paying through, your education, it's just you being able to take that leap, that next step to your career. Carol is a very big example. She's in the UK working. She was an international student, being able to, secure a job in the UK, and she's reaping, the fruits of that international education. And Caroline, who had a story coming back, zero experience in global health, and boom, she's got one of the good jobs in Kenya. So what are you waiting for? The audiences, it's all about making that decision. It's all about knowing that, taking that step. And this is why MSM Campus Connect is organizing this webinar series that happens every Thursday to give you a little bit of insight as to the realities about why you should study abroad. And the best way to actually get those insights are from real life experiences of people who have actually studied abroad, who have been successful, who has gone through all the challenges, processes that you are at the moment, figuring out what should you do. So it's a very good thing that we have, MSM Campus Connect is bringing this series of webinars for us. So always talk to your friends, people that want to study abroad, that they should always tune in on Thursdays. Yes, so before we conclude, just to give you the last two questions, do you have any advice, for prospective students, who are looking at studying abroad? Yes, you've said a lot, some advices have been, mentioned in because of your, conversations today, but any salient, advice, do you have for any prospective students? And you can just give us a parting shot as to, the real, benefits, that you've all overall gotten, to study abroad. Yeah, we know them, but just give us a parting shot, in terms of word and, any very solid advice for prospective students. Caroline, Carol, anyone can, take up, that question.
I think I can go first.
Cool.
I think I'll repeat again that come mind ready. Your mind should be ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are here. And that will help you make use of the 1 year or 2 years that you'll be in a foreign country, because if you're not ready, then things will pass you. And the second one is, don't lock yourself in your room. Don't you lock yourself in your room and study in your room. Get out there. Spend time with people. Get how they think. Travel. See things, as much as you're working hard in class. I think education is wholesome. Education is not something that you only get in class. You get it everywhere, anywhere, with anyone. So don't lock yourself in your room. I know friends who stayed in their rooms for the longest, but then when they were going back, they regretted it because they did not take advantage of the opportunity. Because when you go back home and say you're appointed minister of something like transport, but you're being appointed because you've had a UK experience, let's say, but then you go in there and you don't have any experience in transport because you've been locked in your room. So get out. Be mind ready, get out. And the last one would be, if you can afford it, go for it. But if you can get a scholarship, get a full scholarship. Be comfortable and focus on your studies. And my parting shot would be, of course, there are pros and cons, but the pros outweigh studying abroad. And there might be challenges because you're in a foreign country, but then that is what stretching is, and that is what growth is. So be ready, don't stay in your room, and just embrace change and the challenges that come, because you want to grow. So grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. Caroline, same goes to you. That one big advice for prospective students, and perhaps your parting words, for those who wish to come, complete their education abroad.
Okay, maybe I'll concentrate on, before you go there, or because I'm anticipating. I think Carol really answered quite well when you get there. The question is, how do you get there? So the first thing I would say is, invest on your applications. As in, even if you have, and I realize that MSM, does both, scholarships as well as, self-sponsorship. It's really good that you do, if you want a course or you want a school, please invest on your application. Like take time. I did 10 drafts, and Titus is my witness. I did 10 drafts of my motivation letter. You look at your motivation letter until you're tired. You really do not want to look at it. So it's very important that you take your time, do a good application. Let it be authentic. Let it be, context driven. Let someone, when they read that motivation letter, they can say, this is Caroline Kosilei, this is Ikenna, this is Titus. It has to really speak to the person. Someone must see you in that application, and that takes work. Nothing comes easy. I also want to mention that for me particularly, it took me a very long time to get a scholarship. I was shortlisted. Should I say shortlisted? I was put as the second. What is it called? The second person. If the first person refuses,
reserve
list. Yes, reserve list. I was put in the reserve list in 2 scholarships. Yeah, I applied to many other schools and I was rejected. So you really have to put in the work. And I believe this is what you really want, then put in the work. Yeah, you might not be able, because I know most of the people who come from low and middle income countries might not be able to afford. Some will be able to afford, but you may not be able to afford. So just put in the work, take your time. As I said, for me particularly, I started by getting a school, deferring. I waited a whole year, and then that year I concentrated on just looking for funding. I applied for Chevening scholarship. I applied for various kinds of scholarships. And also, maybe just to add on to that, always pick the low-hanging fruit. It's not only the UK that has scholarships. Ikenna mentioned there's Australia, there's Canada, there is the Netherlands, specifically for African students. For you to be able to get an NFP scholarship, you have to be 50% a woman. There's 50% chance for a woman and 50% chance for an African. That really increases your ability to get this scholarship or to get this school, by 100%. So please take advantage of the low-hanging fruit. Don't just wait and say, oh, I want to study in the UK. Other countries have really amazing schools. And also other countries maybe probably don't speak English, like for instance, Germany or all that, but people do speak English and the English taught courses. But don't close yourself by just thinking, I want the UK. Just open your mind, go to Australia, go to other countries. Even Norway, I hear Norway, New Zealand. So many countries have really good opportunities. I have a friend of mine who studied in Italy. I have one who studied in the Netherlands. They got these scholarships because they were applying and they opened their mind to many other scholarships. Yeah. And then maybe the last thing I would say, just a second, let me just check my notes. Just make sure that when you get there, like for instance, for me, there's this notion that, to make it is to remain behind. It might not be. I just wanted that to be very clear, because probably the people, I don't know. We have examples of people like Carol who've, gotten, should I say professional jobs that are within their line of work. But I can say from experience, I did a lot of care work after I finished, and there was a lot of pressure of staying back so that I can be able to make this money through menial jobs. But what I can say is I have some of my friends who came back home and they made use of this degree. They gave back to the country. They gave back to, developing their countries. Others got opportunities out of their countries, not really in the developed world. Maybe some are based in Nigeria, some are based in South Africa, some are based in Nepal, whatever it is. Don't close your mind and just think, after I've finished my studies, I need to stay in the UK. Oh, I need to get married to someone so that I can get papers to stay behind or to do this. Or, you're tied into, doing menial jobs. Imagine, I met somebody who had a law degree. When they left Nigeria, they had a law degree. They actually had a law firm, a business that was doing well. But because they were making money, they said they want to go and study abroad. And now this person, after doing his master's, has been working in care work for 10 years. So it's really something I look and I say, it's not, when you get an opportunity to stay abroad, it's okay, you can stay abroad, but just don't hold it like it's life or death. Come back home. I've seen so many people who've made it. I have one of my friends called Asha Sitati, who now works in Geneva, came back home, stayed for 2 years, got different jobs. At the end, now she's back in the, in the developed world, if that is your goal. There's still opportunity to go back. Don't tie yourself down. Yeah, so I think that would be my, but it's a really great opportunity to study abroad. You meet many people, you're able to open your mind, you're able to critically think. I think it's a really good thing. And yeah, that's all I could say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is really inspiring. In fact, you hit my heart, in terms of, the conversations you had. It's really good. And there's no other way, for anybody that wants to abroad to listen to you and wonderful professionals and ladies today. It was so heartwarming to learn about, the experiences, challenges, the advice, and it's such a good session. So Titus, I don't know, I can see that we have a bit of questions in the Q&A and the chat. If you could take that, perhaps before we round up this webinar.
Yeah, I can see we have one question. The first question is how to identify full scholarships. So maybe we can ask Caroline or Carol to give some idea of how to identify these scholarship opportunities.
I can go in first. So I think we're in an age where there's a lot of information on the internet, both useful and not so useful information. But a lot of this information is on the internet, and you can find it anytime, whether you're in your bus or anywhere. You can just Google and you can find it. And the other way of finding full scholarships is actually going to the university itself and going in, researching on the uni, going to the tidbits of everything that happens in the uni, because these opportunities are there. Sometimes we just don't see because we are just passing. You go into University of Manchester, there's no course, so you pass. But then inside there's a lot of information. So if you can get into the universities themselves, you can find full scholarships and use the information on the internet. It's very useful. And the other one is reaching out to people like MSM. They have all the information you need. So reach out to Titus, reach out to Ikenna, and they have all the information that you need. Yeah, I'll pass it to Caroline.
Maybe I think, Carol, you really talked, everything you said is really comprehensive. Maybe just to add is to say, I think probably my question would be, if I was to go back and ask myself, how do I start? Or, getting a scholarship, there are opportunities. There's opportunities for Africans. There are many sites where you can be able to Google and they'll just come up, and you can sign up and get all this information that comes in. But I would, if I were me, how I would start is I would want to say, so what do I want to go and study? I want to go and study global health and development. So which schools are the best in global health and development? I would say there is, UCL, there's London School of this, blah, blah, blah kind of schools. And so from these schools, I would go and I would write. The funniest thing about these universities, when you write an unsolicited email, they respond to you. They have people who respond to you. So you're able to just write directly and they'll respond and tell you, ask your question. Is there any kind of funding that I can get support from? So just, write that, ask. Number two, you can be able to use services like MSM. They have all this information at hand and they can guide you with that. So I would say those are the two ways that I would go about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Carol. We have our MSM Unified platform whereby there is all kind of information about scholarships. So we'll encourage our viewers to visit our website. Another one is comment. We have a comment from one of the participants, that is Sharon. She's saying, very nice conversation. Thank you to the amazing speakers and MSM for organizing this webinar. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Titus. Thank you so much, Sharon. What a very productive, 15 minutes we've had today with wonderful, speakers, Carol and Caroline. I also want to, thank all the audience who took out time to, make it, to this, webinar. And special thanks to our speakers for, their valuable insights on the topic, why study abroad and its benefits, the highs, the lows, and how it has impacted on their life, on their career. And thank you so much. And also, before we close, just to let you know that the MSM Campus Connect webinar series is proudly brought to you by MSM Unify. MSM Unify is a one-stop international education marketplace, for your needs as a prospective international student. It provides, official information on thousands, of programs, study guides, as well as, articles on virtually everything, every topic in the study overseas, world. And it's something that we really pride ourselves, into really guiding international students. And that's why I would say MSM Unify connects you, to services you will need in your journey, from student accommodation, to loans, to scholarships, to payment services, and even internship opportunities. And it's, in fact, it has everything you need, under one roof, to be able to guide you in your international education journey. So I would urge all our audiences and those who are listening to this, webinar series, take a snippet, go to our website. It's www.msmunify.com. Once again, www.msmunify.com. Go take a snippet, look at our programs, look at the options, look at what possibilities you can be able to, get from there. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Titus. We are here. I'm Ikenna. I'm the regional head for Africa for MSM, and Titus is the country manager for MSM Global Marketing Office in Kenya. Our contacts are shown on the screen, so you can do well to, take our emails, be able to connect to us, to be able to guide you. And also for general inquiries, you can connect our info@msquaremedia.com. Thank you so much. And this has been a very good one. And I wish you all the best, today.